Welcome back to Cleat Beat. My name is Alyssa, and this is the show where we cover women's soccer, international, national teams, NWSL, WSL, a little bit of everything. Let's get into it. It is the international break for the NWSL, and we saw the U.S. women's national team come together once again since the last time they played and they lost to Japan in the She Believes Cup. But they were playing Brazil, 2 friendlies in California. We got a little bit of everything you could want in a national team game. We had goals, we had celebrations, we had the youth, we had Zoom, we had Vroom, and we had Boom. And of course, my reoccurring question about the U.S. women's national team midfield. Game 1 feels like only a blur. It's our first game against Brazil without Alyssa Naeher in goal, but we have Int'l Joyce, who, let me tell you, really showed out. We had a 2-0 win, USA over Brazil. Trinity Rodman got a goal. She did an iconic celebration where she was like, oh, my back. And then she was like, toss. Her Glinda moment, loved that. Though apparently everyone was actually afraid. And she didn't tell anyone she was going to do that celebration. And Emma Hayes literally, had her stomach drop. But it also is the first game that Brazil doesn't score in their last, 5 or 6 international games. And then the last time that they went goalless was against the U.S. So, pretty good that we have that tradition with them. We also see Lindsay Heaps, formerly Haran, sink a penalty. I will say the refereeing was pretty odd. There should have been probably at least 2 more penalties, one for Brazil and another one for the U.S. And it felt like the referee didn't really have a handle on the game and started issuing yellow cards left and right after about the 55th minute, which seemed 55 minutes too late. You know what I'm saying? My highlight for this game, other than, it definitely felt like a rematch, would be the showing of Int'l Joyce, who got a call-up for the camp previously to this as a training player, and then we saw her perform, as a call-up for the roster, and she's looking good. It's, I think in the WSL, she has a 87% block rate. That's high. I think it's the highest in the league. I like it. Alyssa Naeher can go to sleep at night knowing the kids are going to be all right. Our goal's going to be okay. Let's go to game 2 and see whether that's true or not. Game 2 was a very different lineup. We saw Mandy McGlynn in goal. We saw several other youthful players. We had both the Thompson sisters, which is always exciting to have sisters on the pitch. We saw Kat Macario, Captain Spicy Sonnet, who had the most caps and had more than all the other players combined. Sonnet had over 100, and all the other players combined had maybe 81. And it was wild. It was the youth extravaganza. They had an average of 17.9 caps, including this match. And this starting 11 had the lowest average of caps per player in the last 24 years. And mind you, some of those players are not even 24. Some of them are 17, Lily Johannes. Good for you. She had a great game. Love Lily Johannes. I think our midfield was no older than 21. So it made me feel like I needed to suck on a Werther's. You know what I'm saying? What we also saw was Kat Macario in full fitness, looking gorgeous, sinking a goal in 35 seconds. I mean, can you believe it? She had the hunger for a goal in the first game, and seeing her being able to follow that through in this game is always great. She was also playing Brazil for the first time in her national team career, and if you don't know, Kat Macario was born in Brazil and then immigrated to San Diego, so I love her times 2. And this was her first time being able to face, the national team that could have been, but wasn't, because she's with us and she's cat-locked. She's cat-locked. Now, Brazil made 2 subs in the 33rd minute because Alyssa Thompson was being an absolute menace. And then we get Caroline doing what she does best, and that's ball. And you see the Brazilian buildup where they just completely broke down our defensive line. Tara McKeown ran into, I think, Claire Hutton. Emily Sonnet was left to try and block a Caroline goal by herself with no other defenders. Mandy McGlynn did what she could, but it couldn't stop the goal. And it was kind of fun to see. The vibe of this game was a lot of fun. Yeah, the fun and fast. Fun, fast, and kind of menacey. It was chippy, but like, I don't know, it felt different than the first game. The first game felt intense. This one felt like, I don't know. Now, those Brazil players that subbed in at the 33rd minute are Maritza and Luani. And Luani stood out to me as an absolute mischief maker. And in the 90+5, she does assist a goal that wins Brazil this game. They win 2-1 against the US. And I'll be honest, the youth were playing Brazil's game. Brazil set the terms. Brazil changed the terms. It was their game. We were playing checkers. They were playing chess, and we lost both. I'm bad at metaphors. Now, if you follow me on other platforms or you have watched any previous Cleat Beat where I talk about the U.S. women's national team, this next opinion will not surprise you, but I don't understand why Corbin Albert got the start for this game. I understand we're testing things, but I feel like there's plenty of film to prove why she is not a good fit on our midfield. She hasn't had a good game since the Gold Cup. You guys remember that? That's a while back. And ever since, obviously, the comments and pretty bigoted stuff that she said online came out, her morale never recovered. And I've been to several U.S. women's national team games, and the crowd does not forget. There is loud booing every time she subs on. And she's lucky this isn't the WSL where they boo every time you get the ball. There's lots of turnover at her feet, and it felt like Brazil specifically was not intimidated by her. Really took some heat out. It was kind of bullying. She did get subbed out in the 58th for Sam Coffey, and there was much rejoicing. Similar to the first game, the yellow card didn't come out till the 58th minute, and that might have been also 55 minutes too late. Especially knowing how the first game went. Obviously, the refs were different, but, you know, come on, let's think about some context here. Avery Patterson took a soccer ball to the eye, and like literally her open eye, the replay is gnarly, and she had to go off because her eye swelled up. I hope you're okay, Avery, but it looked like it hurt. I'm hoping there is just bruising and that it's minor. Crystal Dunn subbed in for her. I don't think she even had her jersey ready. I don't know if she was expecting to play. It also is the first game in, I think they said a couple of years that Emily Sonnet has not been on the pitch for the U.S. women's national team. Not Emily Sonnet, Emily Fox. Sorry, Emily Fox. In terms of injuries, we also saw Michelle Cooper get hit, and she had to go off due to concussion protocol. But ultimately, it ends with Amanda Gutierrez scoring with an assist from the previously mentioned menace, Luani. It's the first time since 2018 that the USA trailed Brazil, and it is the second loss of the Hayes era. So let's talk about my wins for this game. I would say my MVP for this window is Alyssa Thompson. She looked amazing. She looked fast. She looked creative. She set up Kat Macario for her goal. She was running the ball and just absolute vroom, zoom, boom. She's my MVP for this international window. My miss is a tie between the referees not controlling the game and several players getting hurt on both sides. And then also, why is Corbin Albert starting? We also saw several other games happening this international break. Canada versus Argentina, and they lost the second game, and Argentina got a red card for their goalie. And I can't believe that Kaylin Sheridan was not the one getting a red card this time. We also saw Mexico ball hard on Jamaica, Japan score 6-1 to Colombia, and Zambia lose to Thailand. Now, speaking of Zambia, We did not have 4 NWSL players called up, or more so their call-ups were rescinded due to the state of the USA's current political administration. The Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, announced on Wednesday that Captain Barbara Banda, Rachel Kundananji, Priska Chilfuya, and Grace Chanda, all of whom play for clubs in the U.S., will not be traveling to China for the Yangchuan International Tournament. Travel to and from the U.S. has become more difficult under the Trump administration, with reports of detentions and visas being revoked for those entering the country. After working through the process instigated by recently introduced measures, it was decided that it is in the best interest of our players to skip this assignment. They will definitely be available for future assignments, as they were in the last window when we played Malawi. The technical bench has since roped in replacements to ensure that the team remains competitive. They added that the decision was made after receiving advice from the United States of America's Zambian mission in Washington, as well as advice from the Orlando Pride and Bay FC. This is so disappointing, and obviously the safety of international players and players in general amidst what we can only be referred to as like a bigot administration is way more important. But I think also it brings into perspective how soccer is an international game. It is a universal game. It is probably the most played game in the world. And yet here we are seeing bigotry impact this international melting pot sport. And it's unacceptable. I am disappointed for those players. It obviously was not, I'm sure, easy news to receive, but I do feel grateful to the Zambian Federation for at least thinking about more than their national team and thinking about how this would impact the players, as well as their careers and, their potential safety and all of that. So I do applaud them for that. It's the least they could do. And the Zambian Federation has not been historically very great towards their national team players on the women's side, specifically I'll speak on. So glad that they chose the safest option this time around, even if it's the most disappointing. That is all, I think, for this week's Cleat Beat, but it's okay because we can just meet again and talk about more soccer. What did you think about the U.S. women's national team games or any of the other international games? What were you watching? I got to see some highlights from the other games, and I was pretty zoned in on the national team for the U.S. I really wanted to see what it was like playing against Brazil. They're probably one of my favorite competitors to watch us play against. And I look forward to seeing where we go in development after this. It was great to have Trinity Rodman back. Congrats, Kat Macario, on the goal. I just, I had fun. And I think sometimes it's okay to just have fun. I don't know. You let me know. The NWSL's coming back this week. You ready for weekly meltdowns? Crash out! Who's with me? Who are you rooting for? And how's your team doing? We're 3 games in. Are you guys okay? Chicago? Nah. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.